Microsoft announced that it will be adding ChatGPT-like capabilities to its search engine Bing. Almost immediately, in Apple's U.S. App Store, Bing surged from relative obscurity to the number 12 spot among all free iPhone apps, and the Edge browser is now the number 3 utility app. Globally, the Bing app has seen a tenfold increase in downloads, and Microsoft stock got a big bump after the announcement. All this indicates there's sizable consumer demand for these new AI experiences, and users are even potentially willing to try new search engines and other browsers in order to gain access. But while the new version Bing has now technically launched, it's still in a limited preview for the time being. Users who want to try out the new AI features have to first join a wait list. Microsoft said that, and I quote, millions of users, unquote, will be invited, end quote, will be invited from the wait list over the next few weeks. In retaliation, Google announced their own AI integration named Bard, which, to give Google their due, has been in development for a very long time. This chatbot AI project has been in the works, for some time. There it is. I apparently wrote it. I don't know. I wrote it yesterday. I don't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Powered by Google's language model for dialogue applications, or Lambda, language model for dialogue applications, Bard is an experimental conversational AI service for Google Search. It will be available, and again I quote, soon. Understandable, the first demo didn't go as well as Sundar Pichai had hoped, and that's a separate story. Google's going, not a news story they have here, but just in general a story. Google's going to have to go big on this one. Bing will allow for complex searches that can help with things like planning a trip itinerary or researching a television to buy. Microsoft said that users can refine their searches by asking for more details, clarity, and ideas. Bing is also able to perform creative tasks like writing an email, creating a quiz for trivia night, and prepping for a job interview and more. Very much like ChatGPT itself. I mean, you can do that now with that. Edge will do things like summarize reports and provide key information, create comparisons between companies and products, and compose content when provided a prompt. It can take into account tone, format, and length of instruction. Of course, there's already attack on Bing's AI engine. Of course there is, but we're going to see more and more of this stuff as we go. It looks like AI is the next tech frontier. So our poll of the week at soundbytes.org, that's Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you, is: are you ready for AI? And your choices are, bring it on. It's going to do my work for me, right? I'm willing to give it a try. You go first. Nope. A what now? And of course, none of the above. And of course, you can give us a call. We're live, probably. 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299, or toll free 800-790-0415. There's already 47 votes in the poll. Bring it on is optimistically in the lead, followed by nope.
I am so ticked off at Windows right now.
Well,
I told you I had one computer that I couldn't shut off the stupid voice.
yeah.
Because they keep saying, go to narrator and turn it off there. No, it's already turned off. Now, another one of my machines did a GD upgrade. Gosh darn thing. And now that stupid thing's talking. And all it did was the update.
It's an added feature, yeah.
Yeah, and they said, well, you can turn it on and turn it off. Just, go into narrator. Narrator's already off. I can't find where they hid or what they changed. That now when I open up another program, it's like visually impaired people, it's talking to me. You're now going to shut this program down. Exit. No, I don't want to hear it.
Somewhere else, there must be a screen reader function.
Yeah, Well, I've done screen readers and, speech and everything else, and nope.
Nope.
Interesting. Nope.
So just hit mute.
That's what I do. I turn them. I turn the speakers off. That's the easiest thing, so I don't have to hear the stupid thing.
Yeah.
But they buried it somewhere in the registry.
Or it's in Microsoft Office. Are you using Office
Nope.
online?
Oh, nope.
No. Okay, that was the wrong question. is Office Online using itself somewhere in your background?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Nope. Never installed Office. Never want it. Never will.
Right.
I have been Google Docs and that for how many years? It's gotta
You
be
don't
about.
still have JAWS on your computer.
I never did.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I've installed it on other people's machines. So yeah, I know all about JAWS and getting it to speech and setting up
Right.
the hotkeys and all that. I'm very familiar with that stuff. But it's more or less like they've put in JAWS, just like they have the magnifier that you can
Right.
do hotkeys to all of a sudden for visually impaired folks. If folks didn't realize this, you can set up hotkeys to magnify stuff. So for visually impaired people, they can read text even bigger on the fly.
Right.
There's a key combination.
Control, enter.
Control, enter, yeah.
Windows Control and enter.
You don't
Yep.
have something sitting on your keyboard.
Nope.
No?
Just my fingers when I'm typing.
Crazy.
Do you own a shotgun? There's a place in town where you can do that, and I forget what it's called and where it is, but you can go there, and if somebody knows, give us a call. Where you can go there, and it's a shooting range,
Okay.
and you can shoot technology among other things.
Smash Room or Smash Therapy. I Smash, Jefferson Road.
There you go.
Well, they smash, so we got to see
No,
if
there's
they
a-
have
there's
one
a-
that shoots.
Yeah, there's one that shoots as well. I Smash on Jefferson Road lets you use what sledgehammers. and stuff.
Sledgehammers and,
Yeah, which viscerally
Axes.
may be.
Oh, I've already got a sledgehammer. No problem. That's back from the days when we used to, people wanted us to destroy hard drives.
Right.
No problem. Because we had this stump
Yep.
and we have a long, big sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And Dan and I would take whacks at it.
That's the way
Boom.
it works. That's the way it works.
There
So,
was,
yeah.
so years ago, we had a customer that called and said there were lines on the screen. Okay. Did you try a new monitor? Yeah. So, okay, it's not the monitor. Must be a video card. They're in Brockport, hour and a half drive
course.
from Victor. So we order a new video card, take it out to them. They're not lines on the screen. They're boxes surrounding words. And I turned the volume up, and the words are being spoken. I said, well, didn't you notice it was speaking the words around the boxes, not lines? He said, well, yeah, but I just muted it. They had the voice over turned on, didn't need a new video card.
Right. But that's
Yep.
3 hours that you
Why-
can charge them for.
Why are IT people so testy? Because I just drove 3 hours to flip a switch that 3 separate people assured me was already flipped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But you know what? If you want to pay for my time,
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy to take.
Well,
your
I
money.
did the same thing with this one gentleman, way back years ago. And we repaired his computer and ran out there and, turned it all on in that for him and, showed him it run. And he says, all right, well, go ahead. Please shut it down. So I went down and shut it down. That's back when they had the side switch,
Oh yeah, the big red switch.
red switch. I turned that off. Come on back. And all of a sudden, maybe an hour later, I thought you said you fixed this. Yeah, we did. I showed you that I did. Well, it's not turning on. Did you turn all the switches back on? Yes, I know how to turn it on. You sure? Walked him. Yeah. Even as him, the red switch and everything else, the switch on the side turned on. I didn't say red switch. I just said switch on the side. Yep. And I thought, all right, I'll go back. And I had to drive all the way back down past Rush
Yep.
to go in there. And he had one of these control centers sitting on top.
Oh yeah.
And he had all the buttons on that turned on. He said, see, it's not working. I looked around on the side, hit the switch on the side. I says, I asked you if you turned this on. Oh, turned it on. All of a sudden, everything came out. I billed him for it.
And he paid it.
Darn right he would.
Darn right he did.
Well, that one took a little while because, I shouldn't have to. I called and you called me and I talked you through it. And you said yes. and kept complaining that I didn't do it. So not
Right.
my fault.
Right.
I can't, explain your stupidity.
It's that. Not a good segue, but let's go to Mark from Greece, New York. Hi, Mark.
Let's see if we can explain his stupidity.
Yeah, right. Sorry about the segue there, Mark.
That's no problem. Question for you. For a long while now, my computer, when it boots, it takes at least 20 seconds for the UFI, whatever, the BIOS screen. It shows that, press delete or F whatever to enter the UEFI, but I have it set to like I even have it set to 0 seconds, and it still takes 20 seconds for that screen to go away.
Okay, what computer do you? Who? Hi, how are you? What model computer do you have? Who made it?
Oh, it was made locally. It's an Asus motherboard.
Yeah. Okay. And so what you see is a black screen for about 20 seconds until that happens.
Yeah, it says it has the Asus logo,
Right.
and it tells you how to enter the UEFI.
Right.
But it doesn't. It takes 20 seconds for it to post, no matter what I set it to in the BIOS.
You're not overclocking it, are you?
No, it's all
Okay.
set to auto.
Okay.
Everything's set to auto standard, and not doing any of that fancy stuff.
Do you have any USB devices plugged in?
Yeah, I've got a couple hard drives and a printer.
Try it without the hard drives.
Yeah.
I have heard reports that with a USB hard drive plugged in, Windows thinks it's trying to boot from it, or it's trying to interrogate the USB bus before.
I'm doing a timeout.
Yeah, before USB is ready yet, but there's something in there and that's confusing it.
The other thing is to check the startup order of your devices.
I did do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's set to the NVMe drive that's in there.
Yeah, I think it's what Steve is saying. It's thinking that it's got a. It sees that other drive and it's trying to wait for it to time out, and that's where you're getting the lag. It's got a timeout there before it kicks into the main drive.
Okay, I'll give that a try.
Give it a shot.
All right. Let us know.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good one. Yep.
Yeah. Often, yeah. I've had machines that just take forever. I had one that was a Dell, which is why I asked, and the motherboard just refused to not try to boot a RAID array before it did anything else. There was nothing I could do to change that, and that took almost a minute before it finally said, "Yeah, okay,
Time's
you
out.
don't have a RAID array." Okay. But there was just nothing you could do to change that. There was nothing in the BIOS that let you change that. It turned out that model had no way to change it. The newer models first checked to see if there was a RAID controller. If there was, it would boot from the RAID, but if there wasn't, it would move on. But that model BIOS did not. So an update to the BIOS fixed that. But it was a minute. I mean, a minute and more before it finally decided, okay, no RAID array, let's move on.
That seems funny now. How we're sitting there talking. It's taking 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And I can remember back in the day, we could turn a computer on, go get coffee,
Exactly. Chat with some people.
come back, sit down, get comfortable, wait a couple seconds, and then the screen came up that I booted.
Instant gratification isn't fast enough anymore. It's just the way it is. We get complacent. I've got a Chromebook and this machine, because it's got an SSD in it and it's running Linux, boots up in less than 8 seconds.
It's 8 seconds too long.
And that's 8 seconds too long. It's like you open up and think, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We used to go out of our way to not need to reboot the computer because it took so long to boot.
Right.
That's probably initially why we just left them on all the time. because we didn't want to have to take the time to reboot. And then when the energy usage started becoming more of an issue, all right, we'll turn the monitor off, but I'm not turning that computer off. It just takes too long to turn back on.
Yep. Yeah, and I used to do that. In fact, I do that here. Well, in the morning, I set this thing up at home while I'm eating breakfast, and then I just close the lid. It goes to sleep. I bring it in here. I open it up. Boom, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
But, and that saves me 8 seconds. Okay, good for me. Back to the phones. Our next caller is Tim from Brockport, New York. What's up, Tim?
Hey, guys. Love the program.
Thank you.
Hey, quick question. It's more of a purchasing question. I'm not sure you can answer, but I have a Samsung Chromebook. Love it. It's great for watching like ESPN Plus games, stuff like that. But it's really lacking in like Microsoft Office programs. So sending an email, Word, Excel, all that. Is there a recommendation of a cheap laptop with like a USB-C port so I can like project to a projector as well, but also that has like the full suite of Office?
Yes.
Why do you
and
need
no.
Office?
Well, yes and no, right? And Dave is exactly right. If you're looking, it depends on what you do with Office. All right. If you're like 99% of people, even with your Chromebook, you could use Google Docs. Or
Tough. Yeah, I've tried that, but it's tough to send like. So I do a newsletter every week, and try to get it like into Gmail is just such a pain. So I'm wondering if there's an easier way to like use some type of email program and do an easy newsletter. And sometimes I have to do Excel spreadsheets for like, sending out just simple spreadsheets.
Most of the time, you'd
crazy.
save them as a PDF and then send the PDF.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
So
trying to do it as
so what you're saying is, okay, look, first, Google's Docs and Sheets and everything else will both read and write Microsoft Office format documents.
And Microsoft has their free online programs, too.
And Microsoft has their free version online. So you could try using that.
through my current Chromebook.
Through your Chromebook.
Yeah.
All you have to do is log on to whatever it is. I have it somewhere here, as a matter of fact, but I can't find it now. But there is a 365 online or something.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah, Steve's going to find it and post a link. But Microsoft does have an online version of Microsoft Office. It is not complete. All right, so there are some fairly high-end things you can't do. But if you're writing newsletters and generalized regular spreadsheets, you can do all of those right from your Chromebook without spending any money. That said, there are lots of places. In fact, I was just telling these guys, I go to Woot a lot, WOOT.com, Woot.com. And if you've never heard of it, I'm sorry to be the one to get you involved in it. They do daily deals. And last week, they had refurbished laptops, and the refurbished comes with a 90-day warranty, and you can buy a 2-year warranty for $29 and blah, 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 blah. And I just ordered a new laptop there, and it comes with Windows, I think 10. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to put Linux on it. But it comes with Windows and all the yada, yada, and it was an i7, 16 gig of RAM, et cetera, et cetera. So you can find inexpensive laptops if you're willing to go refurbished. I wouldn't buy a cheap laptop because most of them are just not going to give you satisfactory response time. They're just too underpowered.
So I have the laptop I'm using now when I do send all this, and please don't laugh out loud at me.
No, hold on. You got to, sorry, hold on. You got to stay on the line. We got to take a break.
I got you.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, Tim from Brockport, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You are listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. That would be Soundbites right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you that with your support, we continue to be member-supported Jazz 90.1. See you on the other side.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbites.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Radio, I'm Julie Ryan. Crews are working to recover wreckage from an unidentified object shot down over Alaska on Friday.
The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says F-22 fighter jets shot down the car-sized object. Rescue and recovery efforts continue around the clock in Turkey and Syria as the death toll from a massive earthquake now tops 24,000. About 80,000 people are being hospitalized and over 1 million have been left homeless by Monday's 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Long Island Congressman George Santos is being ordered to formally declare his candidacy for re-election. The embattled Republican lawmaker is getting attention from federal officials. The Federal Election Commission sent Santos a letter ordering him to officially declare his candidacy by March 14th. Julie Ryan, NBC News Radio.
Have no fear. Nano scavengers are here. This is Sandra Tsinglow with the Lowdown on Science. You won't find nano scavengers in the latest superhero comic, but they could protect you against dangerous nerve agents. Nerve agents are a deadly class of chemicals commonly used as weapons in war-torn areas. They attack the nerves and can cause severe brain damage or even death. Current antidotes work slowly and usually decompose quickly in the body, so the victim may feel better, but the damage has already been done. Peng Shang and colleagues at the University of Washington are attacking this problem. They wrapped the current antidote inside a nanoparticle. How small is a nanoparticle? About 1 million times smaller than an ant. Really small. This significantly increased the lifetime of the antidote, boosting its ability to fight nerve agents. When given before exposure to the agent, the nanoparticles clear it from the bloodstream. Rats given a single injection were completely protected for 5 days. With more research, scientists say it could last for months. These nanoscavengers could help protect soldiers on the front lines. Who would have thought our biggest defense would be even tinier than Ant-Man?
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communication and 89.3 KPCC, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation.
Greece Athena High School Music Theater is proud to present Anastasia, a new Broadway musical. Performances take place on February 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th, 11th, and 12th at the Greece Central Performing Arts Center. Tickets are available online at showtixforyou.com or at the door. For more information, you may visit greececsd.org.
The Jazz 90.1 Daily Club Calendar is brought to you in part by our members and by jazzrochester.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
Jazz 90.1 weather.
Still on the breezy side for your Saturday across Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes. We will find clouds and possibly even a few snow flurries early on for the day, and then look for at least some partial sunshine to develop. Temperatures will top out into the mid-30s for highs with the breeze out of the northwest. Tonight's mainly clear, the wind still on the busy side at times, the overnight low in the upper 20s, an ample amount of sunshine Sunday, less wind, the pick weekend day, highs in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently, right now, we've got overcast skies, 30 degrees out at the airport, and 33 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Phil Dodd. Please join me this afternoon from 1 to 4 on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites, and Tim from Brockport is still on the line. So what's this computer we're not laughing at, Tim?
Well, I mean, it's a Samsung Chromebook, but the old one I use is a 17-inch Windows 98. It's still functioning. Love it. It honestly is a dinosaur, but it's like the most hardy laptop I've ever had. I mean, it's essentially a desktop in a laptop. It's huge, it's heavy, all that. But I love it, and that works. But I'm trying to, downsize a little bit and trying to make everything that works there work on my Chromebook. But so I have not checked out those apps. I'm going to have to actually, look for that app and see if that works any better than what I currently have.
Well, and then one of the problems you're probably running into is if you're trying to paste a formatted newsletter into a mail window, it's not going to work because mail only does basically 7-bit text. If you send a rich message, then you can sometimes do bold and underlined and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to do a formatted newsletter, you'll most likely need to save as a PDF and then attach the PDF to the message, and then the person can see that fully formatted newsletter at the other end.
Could I embed like videos and stuff, like game? So I'm doing this for the Rochester Nighthawks.
Mm-hmm.
I run the fan club, and I'm trying to like embed like goals of the game and stuff like that in like a video. Would that be possible?
Yeah, I know you can do graphics.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can do embed videos in a PDF.
Yeah, you should be able to. But again, the key is doing it in the PDF format because, like Steve was saying, anything else you try to copy and paste it as far as an email, you're going to lose all formatting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It may almost be better to do it as a you can do it as an HTML email, which is basically sending a web page through the email, but that's dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 more quick questions. One question and one trivia for you guys. The other question is, is there a good package out there for podcasting? Mic, mixer, webcam?
We have one in our office, and I can't remember the name of it. Pod Station?
Are you looking for software or the whole schmear?
Hardware. Yeah.
Hardware for podcasting. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Steve's looking that up.
Okay.
His shop
Now,
has
a
it.
trivia
But
question for you guys while you're looking that up. What is happening before the Super Bowl this year that has never happened before involving the flyover?
oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, and that's pretty cool, actually, isn't it?
I mean, 2023. It's pretty sad that that's a major footnote, but
Right. It's suddenly a thing in
cool.
2023. But you're right. It's a milestone, and it took until 2023 to get it. That's terrible.
Yep.
I'm not giving it away, but it's terrible.
Oh, come on.
All right. All 5 of the pilots for the flyover are female. First
And
time.
The first F-35C directly trained. The first woman ever directly trained. She never flew another jet. She only trained the F-35C, which is brand new to the Navy.
Right.
Air Force has had it forever, but it's brand new to the Navy. I thought that was really cool, and I really hope they promote it.
Yep. I do too. Yeah. Good trivia, Tim.
Well, I heard also, talk about trivia, one of the pilots, the female pilots, they were all going to almost try to flunk her in getting her certification, and it was all due to
Boys Network.
Yeah.
It was all due to Morse code, because she sat there and they were doing listening to the Morse code, and one of the other guys, well, you didn't write it down, so you failed that part. She goes, Why do I have to write it down? I know what he said.
Yeah.
Well, how can you know that? I grew up with my dad. He was a ham operator, and I can do 18 words a minute. So they didn't believe her, so they sent some code, and she wrote it right on down. And he goes, well, she passes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But she almost didn't get her license.
Rotary phone.
Yeah, didn't get her license because she didn't write the code down.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, whatever they can do to flunk you, they'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's the meme going around now with the F-35 with a balloon stamped on them for enemy shot down.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the first air-to-air combat in 30 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was F-22.
Well, combat is
Was
a
it
bit
a
of a
22?
stretch.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, a $5 billion aircraft to shoot down a $10,000 balloon. Why not?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. All right. Thanks, Tim.
So any news on the hardware for the podcast?
I've posted a couple of links. There are decent mics. You know, the Yeti mic is like $100. There are really good mics. The high LPR 40 is a really popular mic, but that's like $500.
Okay.
What are we using here? This is a Shure, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, an Electro Voice. I think we looked this one up, and it was almost
Oh,
$1,000.
I saw Electro Voice. Electro Voice is based right here in Perrington, just so you know.
Yep.
It's owned by Bosch, but we're based out of Perrington.
Cool.
Our headquarters are in
There you
Perrington
go.
for Bosch.
And I use a really cheap. It was $10. 1/4-inch to USB adapter, and inside the tiny USB connector is the computer converting the signals.
Yeah.
I used to use
Sweet, I don't even need a
big
mixer then.
Yeah, you can use your computer as a mixer, and I plug into the mixing board of the radio station. But you can plug in a mixer if you're going to have multiple microphones. There are also XLR to USB adapters that let you plug mics directly in. Some mics will come with USB connectors, so they can plug into your computer directly. But I had a Roland RCA to USB adapter I used for a while, and then the cable started getting wonky.
Yeah,
from getting wound up and
I
stretched.
didn't even know you could go because I can get an Electro Voice. Obviously, I work for them, but I can get an XLR to the computer. I didn't know that. I didn't know they made cables that converted to a USB.
And who are you doing this for? You said.
So I work
Nighthawks.
for Bosch.
Nighthawks.
Oh, Nighthawks. Yeah, Rochester Nighthawks. Yeah. So, which we play tonight at 7:00 against Halifax. Tickets still available.
Nice. Oh, listen, Tim, do me a favor. Email me a way to get hold of you because I got something I need to say to you.
Absolutely, I will. I thank you guys so much for your program. I really loved it. I've loved it for years now.
Thank you, Tim. Have fun.
Thanks.
Yep. And you, of course, can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299, and toll free 800-790-0415. For those of you outside the 585 calling area. And in the meantime, I will read the next email here. News item, I mean. Google has launched the latest security patch for the Pixel phones, while also revealing which loopholes and bugs are fixed for all Android phones this month. In addition to a Pixel 7 exclusive solution for clear calling instability, Google is rolling out fixes for touch issues with Braille keyboards and work profile calendars failing to update. The company also mentioned a fix for Bluetooth connections with certain devices or accessories, which could help drivers who have been unable to pair their phones to their car's stereo system for the past month. That said, Google's language about it is pretty vague, so make sure you test your connection once you've updated. The February patch is rolling out to all currently supported Google phones now, starting with the Pixel 4a and 4a 5G, all the way up to the Pixel 7 series and the Pixel 6a. The update is also available on the Pixel 4 and 4 XL, which received their last guaranteed software release in October of 2022. As usual, Google is pushing the current patch as one last release to fix lingering bugs and issues before those devices are fully discontinued. The Pixel 3a and older phones are no longer supported as they've already received 3 years of OS and security updates. The 3a series received its last update in September of 2022. Phones from other manufacturers will receive the update according to their own update schedule. In Samsung's case, things shouldn't take too long for the latest phones, but the story might be different for other manufacturers. On your Pixel phone, of course, there's a lot more to say about Samsung anyway, but that's a whole other story. On your Pixel phone, installing the security patch is as simple as heading to your phone system settings, looking for the system option near the end of the top-level menu, and then system update where you can start the installation. Some other phones, of course, may have a different update method. Google also provides factory images and OTA files, over-the-air files, for those who prefer the manual route. Remember, before you update any phone, make sure all your data are backed up, and don't forget to plug in while the update is in progress. The update is about 20 megs, so it may take a while. Are you up to date? Give us a call if you can. 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415. All right. Yeah, I updated yesterday, and it took a long... It was 20 meg. It's not only download time, which was pretty fast, but then actual updating 20 meg on a phone. That's a lot. So that was pretty nice.
Meg or gig?
What did I say?
You said meg.
Gig.
Yeah.
20 gig. Yeah.
20
Which
meg.
means you've got to have 20 gig free on your phone and better to have 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had plenty of space, but that's all right. 20 gig it's a lot. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Jim from Parenton, New York. Hi, Jim. What's up? Jim? Jim? Jim?
We're trying. We're pushing buttons.
Yeah.
There we are.
Oh, there you are. What's up?
Okay. Hi, this is Jim. I have a Galaxy Chromebook,
Yeah.
the original, and the trackpad just stops working. And it runs warm, I think.
And how old is this Chromebook?
It's the original red Chromebook. I got it pretty much when it came out.
Yeah, that I honestly
yeah.
Don't remember how long ago that was, but
Long time ago, though, I think.
yeah, a very long time ago. You can, of course, simply plug in a mouse or use. Go ahead.
Yes. No, I just like the trackpad.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, while we're solving the problem, it is not
Oh, sure.
unusable because you can plug in a mouse or use a Bluetooth mouse. So the problem with the trackpad is probably hardware. It wouldn't be software.
Sometimes when you do plug in a mouse, laptops disable the trackpad.
Yep.
So if it thinks there's a mouse plugged in, it may have disabled the trackpad, even though it's not.
That's true. So the first thing to do is to go in and look at the settings.
Make sure you didn't turn it off.
To see you didn't turn off the trackpad, and to make sure that you've got it doesn't think you've got a mouse plugged in. That's very true, Steve. But
go
ahead.
Sure. Well, I don't think that's the case because this will work for a little bit and then it stops working and then works a little bit. You can barely get the mouse to move around.
So
it still knows it's there.
Right. So the second thing is heat. You talked about it getting very warm, and it is very possible. First, it may be that I don't remember that model specifically. It may have had a fan that's now dead or full of dust and is not working. You can try blowing out the fan, but if it's not that, then it's just old, and it might be time for a new one. I'm sorry, but that's there. There comes a point where you could probably get it fixed. It would cost more than a new Chromebook.
And there are also USB trackpads or in Bluetooth trackpads. So if you really
That's
want a
true.
trackpad, you could put that in externally.
Right. It's not as portable anymore.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
Okay.
But those I'm afraid.
Just get a wireless mouse.
Well, but he said he prefers the trackpad, and I get that. But if you're looking for, there's no easy fix. If it's not something software related, then it's hardware related, and at that point, it's going to cost more to get fixed than it would to buy a new Chromebook.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, thanks for your help.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes I hate to say it, but sometimes that's the answer, and there's not much we can do about that.
Yep. Every now and then we'll have a customer come in that's so emotionally attached to this computer they have to fix it.
Yep.
Really? Yeah. We can. It's 10 years old and costs more to fix it than a new one is. But okay.
Yeah. Right. No, and I get it.
Yeah.
People form emotional attachments, particularly when you've had it for that long, and it's the red ones are a different different looking and different color and all of that. So I get that. I absolutely get that. But the fact is, sometimes the answer is move on. I hate to say it, but sometimes that's the answer. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Mark from Greece, New York. Hi, Mark. What's up?
Hey, I tried what you said, and it worked very well. I got it to boot up in about 3 seconds from that post screen.
Excellent.
Then what I did is I plugged everything in, and I went back into BIOS, and I looked at my list, and I noticed the second thing to boot from was the network card.
Aha!
I took that out of the second place and put the CD-ROM drive in there, and I rebooted, and I can get it to boot in about 6 seconds.
Well, there you go. It's still faster.
With all the USB plugged in. So I think there were two things going on there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
I wanted to thank you.
Our pleasure, Mark. Thanks.
Thank you. Yep. Bye-bye.
Yep. So what Mark did was, in the BIOS, you can set the boot order of the devices you have.
It used to be floppy drive, CD drive, hard drive. Yeah.
Right. And many of them nowadays start with USB.
Yeah.
And then, as in Mark's case, the next one was the network card, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's great if what you're trying to do is fix a dead hard drive or whatever, but that also leaves you open to, I could walk up to your machine, reboot with my own USB in there, and take over your machine. So what you want to do is go in and say, all right, I want to boot from the hard drive first, and then, basically nothing else, but hard drive first. That way it actually finds something on the hard drive and boots. And if it doesn't find something on the hard drive, maybe then the second thing is the USB, so that you can then put in something to fix your hard drive.
And I also found a tech note from Seagate that some of their USB drives cause this problem, and to turn off legacy USB mode in your BIOS.
Oh, there you go.
Just use modern USB.
Well, that's the other thing, though. A lot of machines nowadays are coming without even CD-ROM drives.
Right.
So it's relying strictly on USB. And, if you want anything to put on your machine, you're going to have to be able to download it from the internet or through a USB port.
Right.
Because literally,
and in a business setting, booting from the network is actually a pretty cool thing. It means that, for example, your systems administrator can set up a common image that everybody uses, and you boot from the network and you get that image, which means that the systems administrator can update it, add new software, remove old software, keep it all up to date, so that every time you download, you get a perfectly good new image that your systems administrator has made available to you. And that's a beautiful thing in a business setting that has a systems administrator, not something you need yourself. So if you have net booting that you can't just turn off, make it the last thing. So I get that. Well, I'm glad we were able to actually solve Mark's problem. That's one for us. We'll take it. We'll take the win. One win a year. Got it out of the way early. That's important. February, we got our win out of the way. That's all right.
Like a squirrel. We found a nut once in a while.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing you've got to remember in general is that there's just so much that goes on when your system boots. And unless you've gone in and tuned the BIOS to remove everything you don't have, or change the order to things you have, it can take a long time to boot. Like I said, we had that Dell that would not ignore a RAID array until it finally decided it didn't have a RAID array. And enough people complained that Dell created a new BIOS that fixed that problem. But, at the time, those devices were mostly being sold into businesses that used RAID arrays. Okay, I get that. But you can't make it the only choice. So you want to be aware that there's so many interweaving things. There's the BIOS before it boots. There's the system itself that boots. There's the peripheral devices that attach when you boot. We had a
and then loading the registry, and that's another thing that can get huge.
Well, it can get 2 gigs, 3 gigs.
Yeah.
And it isn't just load time, but it's also once it's loaded, then Windows has to go through it piece by piece decide which piece is next, do the next thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that takes time, and that's why you have programs like that clean out the registry and remove items that it doesn't need, and streamlines items that it does need, and those are important things. I'll just say it one more time. The registry is the dumbest idea Windows ever had, and that's a long list.
Yeah, and like we've said, if you don't use a product, say like Revo Uninstaller, which will get rid of, actually uninstall it, because Windows, when you tell it to uninstall, Windows is so lazy.
Mm-hmm.
All they do, well, it's kind of creative too. They found a good way to do it is they just go over, find that registry entry, and change the bit, so it's no longer referenced.
Yeah, it
it's
turns on an ignore me bit,
Yeah,
basically.
and it still takes up that space,
right?
Which now, if they're doing a search, it's got to go down farther. Whereas if it actually took it out like Revo Uninstaller does, it actually removes it and shrinks the size of the registry. Because that's one thing we have never done since Windows came up with the idea of the registry, is ever tell people how to go in there and change things.
Right.
It is so dangerous to go in there and change items in the registry. If you don't know what you're doing, you could totally trash your whole machine as far as operating system and working.
Yeah. Yes. And never play around in the registry, but let a program like Revo Uninstaller, CCleaner, programs like that do their job. And to give Microsoft credit, which I do sometimes, the idea behind only turning off the bit in the registry is if you decide to reinstall that program, you don't have to reset it up. It just turns the bit on again and says, "Oh, okay, we've got all the parameters that are necessary here." And I get that, but that is a rare occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, I would rather save boot time every day than once a year not have to set up parameters again on something. So it's just a choice that Microsoft made, but for I believe the majority of people, it's the wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple enough. And so, be very wary. And of course, the other problem is everything uses the registry. So if I write a program that poorly manages my registry entries, I can screw up the registry for everybody. That's a dangerous and downright stupid situation. Linux and the Mac do it differently. Every program has its own file with its parameters in it. And so if I screw up my file, okay, I screwed up my file, but I didn't screw up Steve's file.
Yeah.
Or Microsoft's own file. And if I delete my program, I can elect to delete that file as well. In Linux, it's the difference between an uninstall or a purge, which actually also removes the parameters.
And that's why a lot of people who try to reinstall a program to fix a problem almost never works.
Right.
Because it's not the program file, it's the settings file you have to go find.
Right.
Application support is where Apple puts it.
Right. And so you if you're only uninstalling a program, you haven't removed all of the background stuff. Whereas if you purge a program, or what do they call it on Apple?
Delete, uninstall.
Yeah, that helps. All right, look. Wow, fast day today. That's it. The first hour of this show is over, but don't despair. There's a whole nother hour of the longest running computer show in the known universe coming your way. That's Sound Bytes. Whole nother hour of Dave Enright, whole nother hour of Steve Ray. Hope you're sitting down. Whole nother hour of Nick Francesco, and a whole nother hour of your calls. So you can give us that call at 585-966-5299, 800-790-0415. Take a bio break, go get a sandwich, go pet the dog and the cat. But come on back for a whole nother hour of Sound Bytes. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester, a public service of the Greece Central School District. Jazz 90.1.
On Instagram at WGMC Jazz 901.
NBC News Radio, I'm Julie Ryan. Crews are working to recover wreckage from an unidentified object shot down over Alaska on Friday.
The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says F-22 fighter jets shot down the car-sized object. Rescue and recovery efforts continue around the clock in Turkey and Syria as the death toll from a massive earthquake now tops 24,000. About 80,000 people are being hospitalized and over 1 million have been left homeless by Monday's 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Long Island Congressman George Santos is being ordered to formally declare his candidacy for re-election. The embattled Republican lawmaker is getting attention from federal officials. The Federal Election Commission sent Santos a letter ordering him to officially declare his candidacy by March 14th. Julie Ryan, NBC News Radio.
Greece Odyssey Academy is proud to present Stephen Sondheim's Into the Woods on stage February 24th and 25th at 7 p.m. and a matinee performance on February 26th at 1 p.m. at the Greece Olympia School Auditorium, located at 1139 Maiden Lane. Tickets are available online at showtixforyou.com and Greece Athena High School Music Theater is proud to present Anastasia, a new Broadway musical. Performances take place on February 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th, 11th, and 12th at the Greece Central Performing Arts Center. Tickets are available online at showtixforyou.com or at the door. For more information, you may visit greececsd.org.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Step out of the cold and warm up your body and mind at a New York State museum. In New York City, at the Museum of Modern Art, Signals, How Video Transformed the World offers a fascinating look at the way artists have used video as an agent of global change. From televised revolution to electronic democracy, over 70 media works illustrate video art's wildly varied formats, settings, and worldwide reach. In Rochester, the George Eastman Museum is presenting special exhibitions of photographs by Adam Eckberg and Marcia Resnick. And in Syracuse, the Everson Museum of Art's Hoop Dreams, Basketball and Contemporary Art examines how artists have drawn creative inspiration from the personas and culture of the game. To learn more about these and other museum exhibitions in New York State, visit the I Love New York website at iloveny.com. New York State, come be a part of it.
What if the music stopped? If the familiar voices were silenced? If there were no breaking news updates? What if your companion and connection to your community came with a monthly fee? Don't worry, we're free local radio with you wherever you go, celebrating 100 years and looking forward to the next 100. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Imani wouldn't be here if it wasn't for St. Jude. Everything was perfect until that day when she was 5 weeks old.
So there was a fairly large and aggressive brain tumor, but St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us the ultimate gift in this world, which was hope restored.
And she's tumor-free now.
We came as two desperate parents, and they saved our daughter's life.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Did you know that heart transplants don't last a lifetime, and the average is 17 years? 1 in 4 children face a chance of needing another within 5 years. Enduring Hearts is the only nonprofit dedicated to funding research that helps kids with heart transplants live longer, healthier lives. Enduring Hearts has funded research from the leading institutions across North America, and we will not give up. Please join our mission to save lives and consider donating today. Visit enduringhearts.org.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbytes.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 5 minutes after the hour, we are hurtling headlong into the second hour of the longest-running computer show of the known universe, Sound Bytes, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Oh, my battery level just hit 40%. My app works. I'm very excited. There we go.
Now you can plug in and get it back up again.
Back up to 80%, when hopefully my app will now tell me it's time to unplug it.
So I've got a streaming program running. I've got multiple cameras running. I've got multiple encoders doing things. And I go to my battery monitor, and it says Google's Finder Helper is using significant energy. Nothing else is. Google's Finder Helper, which synchronizes Google Drive.
Right.
No, really? Not this streaming system pulling in cameras and sending out 3 streams?
No. Not compared to the mighty Google. No.
Yeah.
That's how that works. One of the things that, I should read a news item, but I want to say a little bit about my battery thing. Most lithium-ion batteries, when they start getting super full, really above 90%, they start growing dendrites, which are little crystals on either the anode or the diode, whichever.
Cathode. They grow from one way to the other.
One way, and as those grow, they bridge the gap between the two, the anode and the cathode, and that means that at some point they short out. That's what causes fires and things like that. Well, those dendrites grow either not at all or much slower if you don't charge your battery to 100%. So the recommendation is don't let the battery get below 40, and don't let it get above 80. Now, the iPhone does that automatically, shuts it down. A lot of electric cars, you can set the levels. On Android phones, there's an app you can run that tells you when it's 40% and tells you when it's 80%, but you still have to manage it yourself. So I wrote a little program for my laptop to do the same thing, and now I'll just continue to go along between 40 and 80%. And extend the life of this battery. And the new one that I'm getting, I will do the same immediately.
Well, apparently the mechanism of dendrite growth wasn't known until recently.
Right.
And so I'm just reading an article. They think they figured out why. It's a certain element in the electrolyte. And if we remove that element from the electrolyte, maybe we'll stop the dendrites and batteries will last longer and won't have as much of as a fire hazard. Right,
and there's new batteries coming along, ion salt batteries, and a couple of other things that don't exhibit dendrite growth.
And there's a solid electrolyte battery,
right,
which is really cool. So the reason lithium batteries swell is that because of these dendrites cause heat when they short circuit, it boils the liquid electrolyte and causes gas, and so they swell out. So the solid electrolyte versions don't have that problem. And I saw a demo of one where the guy had a big pair of scissors and they had a battery hooked up to a voltmeter. He kept cutting pieces of the battery off, and it kept working fine. Just the voltage dropped a little bit as every piece of the battery he cut off. It was really cool.
So that stuff is coming. We're getting new batteries as we go along. But right now, and we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago with UPS drives, uninterruptible power supplies. Many of them still use the regular car battery, lead acid batteries, because those don't have any kind of problem running at full charge all the time. So
remember when you used to have to add water to your car battery to keep it working?
Yep.
And then sealed batteries were such a huge technological improvement.
Right. They were very exciting. I remember changing a non-sealed battery and ruining an entire pair of pants and a shirt because it leaked a little acid on them.
That battery acid was wicked.
Yeah. All right. Let me read the news item. Why does Thunderbird look so old?
Because it is?
Because it is.
Yeah. That's one of the most frequently asked questions about Thunderbird, according to Thunderbird project design manager Alessandro Castellani. Along with, is Thunderbird dead? Which the answer to that is no.
Well, then it would be a phoenix.
Right, right. And it's one he seeks to answer definitively in a new blog post about Thunderbird's planned 2023 release, codenamed Supernova. The Supernova release will include an overhaul of Thunderbird's user interface, or UI. Castellani didn't share screenshots, but he indicated that the new UI would be simple and clean and targeted mostly at new users. For veteran users, the interface will also be flexible and adaptable, so that people who prefer the way Thunderbird looks now can maintain that familiarity they love. Supernova will also include several other big changes, including a redesigned calendar and support for Firefox Sync. Beyond news about the redesign, the blog post is worth a read if you're curious about what the team is doing to battle the software's technical debt, or if you want to know why it seems like the app's development moves so slowly. The post is also helpful if you need a refresher on the long and complicated relationship between Thunderbird and Mozilla. Thunderbird used to be maintained by Mozilla alongside the Firefox browser, but in the modern era, it hasn't always been clear who's responsible for it. Mozilla's executives had wanted to spin Thunderbird off as early as 2007, and it moved to a more community-driven development model in 2012. That decision, according to Castellani, was both a blessing and a curse that put Thunderbird in the position it's in now. Community contributors to Thunderbird keep the project alive, but a lack of centralized oversight resulted in an inconsistent user interface without coherent user experience and led to long stretches where the app wasn't being updated at all. Today, Thunderbird development is still partially driven by community developers, and the project is heavily reliant on user donations, but it's also somewhat back in-house at Mozilla via a growing group of paid employees at a wholly owned Mozilla subsidiary called MZLA Technologies. It's those employees who are currently defining Thunderbird's roadmap, working to help it shed its technical debt, and hoping to expand its user base with a new Android client based on the K9 Mail app, which is a pretty cool product in itself. The redesigned Thunderbird user interface is currently slated for Thunderbird 1.15, which is due to be released in July. Are you still using Thunderbird? Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299, toll free, 1-800-790-0415.
Actually, Thunderbird's not as old as I thought it was. It's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
I thought it was older than that.
Yeah, me too.
No, I use it. I use it at home on Linux. It works just great, and it does everything I want it to do. But yes, it looks kind of old.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I'm more interested in function than form, so it's fine for me. They did take one thing away. It used to be that if I wanted to move an email to another folder, I could just drag and drop it. Yeah. Now I have to right-click on it, say move to, pick the folder, and let it go. I get that, that makes it harder to drop it into the wrong folder, which apparently was a big annoyance for people. But that annoys me, so okay. Back to the phones. Our next caller is... I'm sorry, go ahead, hold on.
That was that battery monitor you had. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Let me search the...
it's in our
link list.
Link list, yeah.
Someone in the chat was asking about it.
Yeah, it's down in our link list.
Get to the link list. Probably search for battery.
Battery charge notifier for Android. It's about the 6th or 7th one down, just above Future Tools. Still on the front page.
Ah.
There you go. All right, can I go to the phones
Yeah.
now? Thank you. Our next caller is Ed from Rochester, New York. What's up, Ed?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. I was just curious. About 6 months ago, I got a Chromebook. It's a Lenovo IdeaPad 5, and it seems to be working okay. But I noticed when you watch live sports, every once in a while the picture will flicker. It's like you've got two pictures at the same time, and that lasts about 5 seconds. It goes away, then everything's fine, and just intermittently comes back. Not 5 minutes or 10, anytime, And
right.
I didn't know if there's anything I could do to fix it. I know I run this through my Android phone hotspot, and that's an Android 9, and it's been working fine, except that it seemed to. It's odd. It just seems to when you're watching live sports. This was when I was watching English soccer today, and this is the first time it's ever happened. And I said, oh, no, here we go again. Luckily, it's only 6 months old. So I wanted to know if you guys had any suggestions of if there's anything could be done to, circumvent that.
Well, the real question is what's going on, right? You've got three things happening here. From the Chromebook end, you've got is the video card capable of keeping up with that? Now, if you've watched like YouTube videos and stuff like that, and those don't have a problem, then it's probably not the video card. So the next thing is the speed of your, well, it's really only two things because everybody expects Spanish precision. The other thing is the speed of your internet connection. Now, since that's coming through your phone and then going by through your phone to your computer, I would do a speed test. And that's at Ookla something.
Speedtest.net.
Speedtest.net. It's the Ookla speed test. And that'll tell you how fast your connection is. Mostly you're concerned with the download speed, but the upload speed is not an impossible thing to have to deal with as well. So perform that in exactly the same way you watch your sports. That is to say, through your Android phone. And that will tell you, how fast your internet connection is, because it is quite possible that what's happening is that the phone cannot keep up with the data stream and has a little glitch every once in a while. Particularly if the phone does other things, like if every phone has 15 things running in the background, right? So it may be that at certain points, the phone just doesn't have enough oomph anymore to keep up with the data stream.
What kind of a download speed parameter are you talking about?
It entirely depends on what else is being downloaded and what's going on your phone. Megabit shouldn't be a problem at all. I mean, if you're looking at what's a good download speed for video?
5 to 10, probably.
Yeah,
well,
probably.
And depending on if you're doing HD or 4K, most video services will monitor your download speed, and if there's a drop in speed, it will move you down to the lower quality. And
and that depends entirely on the other end too. So that's a problem.
But even I've seen it on my Greenlight, YouTube video or not YouTube TV.
Right.
Some channels, the audio gets out of sync like half a second.
Right.
And I have to stop that channel, switch to a different channel, and then come back to that channel.
And it's fine
to get it to sync up again.
And that's not really your computer's fault. That's something at the other end.
The other end, yeah.
If you're doing, if you're watching the soccer match in HDR or 4K or whatever, you want a 15 megabit download speed.
15, okay. Yeah. I thought maybe it might be a glitch in the satellite or however they stream it.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. That you're right. There is a third part, which is the other end. So I can't.
And also where he lives, the location.
Right.
I mean, there's some spots.
If the neighbors, if the neighbors started downloading something heavy and
right, he's doing it through his phone, so
that's still a radio signal to the cell tower.
And it is not designed for that. There's no guarantee of bandwidth on your phone. So if the signal if the signal starts getting weak because too many people are on their phones at that tower, that will happen too.
Yep, a lot of variables.
Yeah.
It's not just cut and dry.
Yeah.
That it's just this. No, there are a lot of things that weigh in as factors to and conditions.
Yep.
When you look at the screen when this happens, it looks like it's searching for something because you see two pictures at the same time out of sync, but they're flickering like an old-time movie, the hand crank type of stuff. And it looks like the computer is searching for something to sort that out, and once it finds it, then it's fine. It's great. But
it's unlikely to be the computer itself.
No.
Yeah, okay.
You would see it if it was the computer. You either would have a problem from the beginning, Well, if it was a computer, you would have the problem from the beginning.
That's what I thought he would do it all the time.
Yeah,
Say when
yeah,
we
yeah.
go to the library and use the Wi-Fi or whatever, knock on wood, it's fine. But this is the long distance stuff. I thought maybe there was a problem from some transmission someplace.
Well, that's the problem. It could be anywhere along that chain.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's good. Thanks a lot for your help. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, that's one of the issues that the invisible issues that we have with technology. Where is the problem?
Yeah.
When it involves a chain like that, there's the computer, there's your phone, there's the connection to the cell tower, there's the connection from the cell tower.
Trace the electric flow.
Right, exactly. Dave just made himself very happy. I don't know why.
Connecting again.
Okay, good.
No, when this thing acts up, it gives me hurt feeling.
Right. That's why I don't do tech stuff anymore. I used to say this, when I was an actor, if something screwed up and I was on stage, I could ad lib out of it. If I was backstage on the board, there's nothing you can do. You're on stage and a light blows, you move over. You're in the back and a light blows.
You're in the dark.
It's not on you anymore. It's exactly right. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Joe from Rochester, New York. What's up, Joe?
Hey, did you guys know that you guys were sitting amongst royalty? I think I saw that, Nick.
Thank you.
You were crowned Burger King.
Yes, I am finally the Burger King again. What Joe is talking about is yesterday after an event we drove through, my wife and I drove through Burger King, and the lady asked me if I wanted a crown. The answer, of course, is yes. Yes, I do. And so she gave me one. And so I have finally become the Burger King, which a friend of mine pointed out many, many, many decades ago when I was an actor. I tried out for the Burger King. None of you will remember this, but before the guy in the mask, the creepy mask,
he's
the Burger King was a little short guy,
scary.
the Burger King was a little short, fat guy, with a white beard like the Little King. If you remember him, no, you don't. But the point is that used to be their mascot, and they were going to do a whole campaign about using that image of the Burger King, and they wanted it to be live action, and I went and auditioned, and in fact, after many auditions, I got the role. And then I went, for the last time, I got a call, I went in, and they said, I'm sorry, the campaign is changing, this is going to be the new Burger King, and go home. Bye-bye.
I found over the years how the mascot has changed.
Yeah. But I finally got to be the Burger King, so it's all very exciting to me now. Thank you, Joe.
Well, good. You deserve it.
Thank you. You may kiss my ring. I keep it in my back pocket.
I don't know.
See what
Thanks,
you did,
Joe.
Joe? We were keeping it under wraps. This room isn't big enough.
Thanks,
now
Joe.
his head's not going to get through the darn door.
That's right. Well, it does. The crown doesn't even fit anymore. That's the problem. Thanks, Joe.
That's too funny.
It is.
Hey, about Thunderbird, I'm still using like version 43 or something because there were so many extensions that were available back then to customize the program. It still works flawlessly.
Yeah, it does.
So,
or some other F word. Yeah.
Well, I hope it's still okay to be doing that as far as safety goes and everything. But it works perfect.
Most of the extensions should continue to work on the newest versions. I use several extensions on my version of Thunderbird as well. So either, a new version of that extension or an equivalent extension should be available for the newest versions of Thunderbird. And of course, as with any piece of software, you should be using the latest version. I think it's up to 114 now. So you're just a little bit behind.
Although sometimes the person that wrote the extensions hasn't maintained it, and so there is no new version that would be compatible.
Well, and that's still dangerous to continue to running a non-compatible version.
I've got 78 on here. I'm going to click the Restart to Update button.
There's an idea.
I haven't updated it in a long time. One of the things I always forget about is Thunderbird still has an NNTP reader in it if you're doing old-style news groups, which I keep meaning to get into the SpinRite Mac developer news group to see how he's working. It's like he's really close.
Yep.
He talked about he's got it running faster, so one terabyte drive takes an hour instead of a day.
Nice. Nice. 24-fold increase. Very nice.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I would take a look at some of the newer versions. Of course, the problem is if you update, then you're done. You're updated forever. But
yeah, I've
went
done
to 91.
that.
Now it's going to 102. Why don't you just
They
go to
don't
the
update a lot of
newest?
them.
I don't know. Sorry, what?
Sorry.
They don't update a lot of the extensions I'm using, so I'm kind of stuck.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do. I get that. But be very careful what you open. Is all I'm saying.
Oh yes, great.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks. You too, Joe. Yeah, I very much enjoy Thunderbird. It does everything I need it to do, and it does it very, very well. But yeah, it looks old. Again, that doesn't bother me. But
You're old.
I'm old, and it's old, and that's okay with me. And again, for me, it's form over function, function over form. As long as it works, the way it looks is less important to me. And if you've ever seen any of the websites I've designed, you know that's true.
Well, now it's retro.
Oh yeah, now it's retro. Yeah.
Retro, we're cool again.
Yeah. But it truly does, particularly with the extensions, truly does everything I need it to do. And I'm very pleased with what it does. So if you're unhappy with your current email program, or you're looking for something that handles multiple email addresses very well, that's the reason I use it, and I use Evolution on Linux. And both of those work quite well in slightly different ways. I'm so used to Thunderbird that Evolution annoys me every once in a while. But you can keep your multiple accounts working simultaneously and go back and forth among them effortlessly. And so if you're looking for something that works for multiple accounts without having to keep multiple tabs open on your desktop and juggle avatars.
What's wrong with
and
a lot of
stuff like that.
tabs?
Yeah. You notice I looked at you when I said that.
Yeah.
You might want to.
You
look
wouldn't
at
want to
Thunderbird.
see my screen right now.
I don't want to ever see your screen
because I must have close to I use this one other program that I send out QSL cards.
Yeah.
So you got to keep a tab that if I want to send a card to them, open. I got about 49 tabs
Jeez and
set there.
crackers.
I got to go through.
You can group tabs now too.
Yeah. But no, it's only.
Yeah, you don't care.
No, because I'm going to. It's my ritual on Sunday nights. I sit down and I just focus on doing that task. And it's literally selecting each one, filling out the information, sending out the QSL card, and off it goes. And I wipe that tab out. Just click it off. So it's just a helpful reminder that I got to do it. It's kind of my Sunday reminder. All right, here's your task you got to do. And I've been doing it now for almost 5 years.
Nice.
We did find inadvertently that Safari has a 500 tab limit. When you try to open another
now,
tab.
I haven't gotten even close to that. I mean...
Yeah, we got a message on a customer's machine. Sorry, you already have 500 tabs open. We can't open another one.
Wow.
But then there's a auto-close tabs that haven't been active in a month feature that, okay, we'll turn that on.
Yeah.
Why is my device running so slow? You've got 500 tabs open.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the one thing with the Google Chrome, though, because I did have a bunch of them marked for my Sunday thing, and I accidentally closed the Explorer down. And when you close it down, it puts it back to the default, which is only 14 tabs.
I'm so sorry for you. Only 14 tabs.
So all those other tabs that I was going to mail cards to, they didn't go out that week.
Yeah. Alternately, and I don't know if you know this, but you can group your things together and say, save this as a folder on your bookmarks. And that'll do that for you. All right. While we teach Dave how to close tabs, we're going to take a quick break. maybe we should take a really long break, but it'll just be a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, and you. It's 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes, right here on the truly great and truly grateful to you because we are solely member-supported Jazz 90.1. See you on the other side.
Computer talk you can understand. More Sound Bites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Julie Ryan. The White House is denying that President Biden will give a pregame interview with Fox News on Super Bowl Sunday. Jim Forbes has more.
There have been conflicting reports of a possible interview, with earlier reports on Friday suggesting Biden would give an interview to digital outlet Fox Soul before the game. On Friday night, a White House spokesman said an interview had been arranged and that Fox canceled it. The White House says it has not signed off on any exchange between Biden and Fox.
An advisor to former Vice President Mike Pence says a classified document has been found at Pence's Indiana home. That statement came on Friday after a 5-hour search of the house that was described as thorough and unrestricted. The Pentagon says it shot down a high-altitude object that entered U.S. airspace. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby confirmed the military had been tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska. Julie Ryan, NBC News Radio.
Create year-round beauty, texture, and interest in the landscape by growing trees with unique bark. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. Crepe myrtle may be the first tree that comes to mind. This fast grower has smooth gray bark that peels to expose the underbark in various shades of brown to gray. Paperbark maple is another beauty with cinnamon-colored peeling bark. Hardy in zones 5 to 7 and somewhat in 8, the spectacular fall color adds to its seasonal appeal. The camouflage-like bark, along with the evergreen needles of lacebark pine, provide year-round character in the landscape. Give this 30 to 50 feet tall and nearly as wide tree plenty of room to grow to its mature size. Another large landscape plant, the lacebark elm, has mottled gray, green, orange, and brown bark. This beautiful shade tree is adaptable to pH and soil extremes and tolerant of urban conditions. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by Summit Responsible Solutions, a manufacturer of organic, all-natural insect pest control products, including Summit Sticky Traps. Sticky traps can be used to manage pests on indoor plants and do not contain pesticides. Sticky traps are available at local and national garden centers and hardware stores. Information on how to control insect pests can be found at summitresponsiblesolutions.com.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by the great courses How to Grow Anything DVD series hosted by Melinda Myers. The Great Courses How to Grow Anything series consists of 4 DVD courses that provide gardening tips and information on food gardening, landscape design and care, container gardening, flower, tree, and shrub care, and more. More information is available at melindamyers.com. That's melindamyers.com.
What if you were wearing something sexy? What if you were drinking? What if you made the first move? No matter what, sexual assault is never your fault. Support is available 24/7 through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Call 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAINN.org. That's RAINN.org. This is Christina Ricci with RAINN, reminding you it's never your fault.
Brought to you by RAINN and this station.
And now your Jazz 90.1 weather.
Still on the breezy side for your Saturday across Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes. We will find clouds and possibly even a few snow flurries early on for the day, and then look for at least some partial sunshine to develop. Temperatures will top out into the mid-30s for highs with the breeze out of the northwest. Tonight's mainly clear, the wind still on the busy side at times, the overnight low in the upper 20s, an ample amount of sunshine Sunday, less wind, the pick weekend day, highs in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got overcast skies. It's 31 degrees out at the airport and 33 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Jeff Harris. Join me tonight from 5 to 7 on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. And I will read a news item. Oh, this is one of my favorites. As a smart, you used to own a Galaxy. You used to own a Galaxy phone.
Yeah.
As a smartphone operating system, Android strives to be a lightweight OS so it can run on a variety of hardware. The first version of the OS had to squeeze into the T-Mobile G1 with only a measly 256 meg of internal storage for Android and all your apps. And ever since then, the idea has been to use as few resources as possible, unless you have the latest Samsung phone, where Android somehow takes up an incredible 60 gigabytes of storage.
Huh?
Yes, Samsung's new phone is way out of line with most of the ecosystem. Several users report the phone uses about 60 gig for the system partition right out of the box.
On your 64 gig phone?
Right, yeah. If you have the minimum now is 128 gig phone, but that's still nearly half of your storage for the Android OS and packed-in apps. That's 4 times the size of the normal Pixel 7 Pro system partition, which is 15 gig. It's the size of 2 Windows 11 installs side by side. What could Samsung possibly be putting there? Well, we can take a few guesses as to why things are so big. First, Samsung is notorious for having a shoddy software division that pumps out low-quality code. The company tends to change everything in Android just for change's sake, and it's hard to imagine those changes are very good. Second, Samsung may want to give the appearance of having its own non-Google ecosystem, and to do that, it clones every Google app that comes with its devices. Samsung is contractually obligated to include the Google apps, so if you get both the Google and Samsung versions, that means 2 app stores, 2 browsers, 2 voice assistants, 2 text messaging apps, 2 keyboard apps, and on and on and on. These all get added to the system partition and often aren't removable. Unlike the clean OSs you get from Google or Apple, Samsung sells space in its devices to the highest bidder via pre-installed crapware. A company like Facebook will buy a spot on Samsung's system partition where it can get more intrusive system permissions that aren't granted to App Store apps, letting it more effectively spy on users. You also usually find Netflix, Microsoft Office, Spotify, LinkedIn, and who knows what else. Another round of crapware will also be included if you buy a phone from a carrier, i.e. all of the Verizon apps and whatever space they want to sell to third parties. The average amount users are reporting is 60 gig, but crapware deals change across carriers and countries, so it'll be different for everyone. Just on the surface, Samsung's 60 gig system partition looks bad compared to the Pixel 7's 15 gig, but it's actually worse than those 2 raw numbers. Samsung isn't even using one of the big storage-hungry Android features that you would normally get on the Pixel 7, AB system partitions. The Pixel 7 and most other flagships actually have 2 copies of the operating system, one that is online and being used and another that is offline and sitting in the background. When an OS update gets downloaded, a Samsung phone with only 1 copy of the OS will have to reboot and have as much as 30 minutes of downtime. A Pixel phone with 2 copies of the OS will just keep running and update the second offline OS in the background. Then, when the update is done, it just does a normal 30-second reboot. The device will swap operating systems, moving over to the OS copy that was just updated. And the dual OS system also gives the phone a backup back to the old system if something goes wrong. So how's your Samsung phone? Give us a call if you can. 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 1-800-790-0415. Yeah, we see this a lot. Many systems, whether they're phones or computers, install a lot of crapware. Windows is notorious for bloatware, which bloats up the size of the system. Windows is notorious for it. You can see all the candy games and all that other stuff that's on it. Those are all paid for. So you are paying for the operating system. Mike, you pay about $100 more per system to get Windows than not. And then on top of that, Microsoft is charging the Candy Crush people or whoever to add all those their apps, and you can see
and
how
the
many
Xbox now. And
well, that's a Microsoft product, so
yeah, but it's all stuff that's shoved in there, whether you own an Xbox or not,
whether you want it or not. So yeah, and many of those things, particularly on the phone, particularly on a Samsung phone, you cannot uninstall. You can barely hide them. And one of the problems I've seen with a lot of people is they say, well, I upgraded my phone and all my messages disappeared. I thought Android was supposed to fix that. Well, it does, but you weren't using the Android apps. You were using the Samsung apps.
Mm-hmm.
And because you were using the Samsung apps, when you did the upgrade, because Samsung writes shoddy software, and that's the polite phrase, it lost all of your emails and everything. It lost everything.
All your information.
Yeah, your messages and voicemail and everything else. So that's a problem with not just Samsung, but a lot of other companies. They add the bloatware so that they just make more money. Not only are they charging you a lot of money for your phone, but they're also charging other companies a lot of money to ride along like the parasites they are. All right, to the phones. Our next caller is Ken from Rochester, New York. What's up, Ken?
Hi, fellas. Glad to hear your voices crackling over the radio waves as
Thank
they
you.
should. Quick question for you for backup software I've used over the years. I have tried Ghosttree in the past. Previous to that, and I still use it because I run a lot of old equipment, is Drive Image 5.0, which I can honestly say was flawless, and it was absolutely spectacular. Of course, it didn't handle the nuances of what we see today and whatnot, but I just wanted to get, I know you have a web page for these sort of things, but I wanted to get your input as to what I'm trying to achieve is the backup of the oddities as well as the nuances. So I still want to do the floppies, which I can do with this software. And, of course, the hard drive to create the image. And then whatever else is available after that, I just thought I'd pick your mind, see what you think.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's available. First, let's back up for a moment and talk about backing up the entire hard drive. When you do that, it makes it easy to restore. The problem is, if there is a problem with your system, you just backed it up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you restore it, you're restoring that same problem again.
Mm-hmm.
Or the underlying thing that caused the problem a month later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, an update or something else to the operating system.
Problem in the registry or whatever it might be. So, I absolutely get it. It makes it easier to restore, and you don't have to reinstall your software. And I'm not accusing you of this, but many people who don't pay for their operating system still have a copy of it, and I get that. I do, but the reality is that backing up an image of the hard drive is dangerous. Anytime you have a real problem, you should reinstall the operating system and the apps you actually use clean, and then just restore your data.
Yeah.
Which you've also scrubbed.
Photos and
well, that's all part of data.
Yeah.
The photos and documents and all of that stuff is your data.
That's the only thing that is hard to replace.
Right.
Apple has actually changed their hard drive layout a couple of system versions ago. There's a system partition and a data partition that's all hidden behind the one icon. So it's tricky if you see those two icons and don't know what they mean. But it does mean that the operating system and your data are on two separate volumes, so that you can replace the OS and it doesn't touch your data. You can back up just your data and it doesn't bother with the OS. In fact, it's a little annoying that it sometimes doesn't back up the OS. But I always prefer installing a clean OS and restoring the data because of that.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, because you don't know what inherited problems you're backing up that are going to cause you even more issues once you restore it.
That said, for your needs, I would take a look at asknick.com/backup.php, and it's also in our link list. You can do a search for backup, and you'll see it there. It lists a whole bunch of different backup solutions for every operating system. Some are free, some pay money. You pay money for. Some are free, but you can buy better versions. And it talks a little bit about the benefits of each, but also there's a link to each, so you can go through and see what you need, because everybody's needs are different, and it's probably good for you to do your own research at that point. In terms of backing up data as opposed to backing up the operating system, I've also been suggesting pclone as P-Cloud. What did I say?
Clone. You said P-clone.
You either had too much coffee or not enough coffee.
I've had a sinus infection.
Oh yeah, I've got
for
that
days,
too.
and it just it's like somebody's hitting me in the
I'm
forehead with a hammer.
I'm just getting over one.
Post nasal drip.
Oh,
I've
it's
gone
all
through more
horrible.
soda than usual lately, trying to burn the phlegm out of my throat.
Sorry. P-Cloud, that's all right. P-Cloud is an online backup. It's an online mirror, actually. And so I tend to recommend that as one of multiple backups. We talk, and it's in this backup.php file. You can take a look at the 3-2-1 backup plan. 3 separate backups in 2 separate places, at least one of which is off-site. And again, I certainly, if you've just installed a brand new operating system, take a backup of your system. That way, if you ever want to go right to the get-go, right to clean, you can. But once you start installing apps, once you start actually using the system, this is after you install the apps. You install the operating system clean the first time. You install legitimate apps clean the first time. Take a backup of the system itself and put that away somewhere. But once you start using your system, all kinds of cruft and garbage can creep in. And I wouldn't trust a new backup of the system after that. Again, your mileage may vary, but you're shooting craps at that point.
Right. No, I don't disagree with anything you said. I just, I guess I utilize it in the right way based on your description. I would create reinstall the operating system, reinstall all the software, start from scratch, of course, and then from there create my image.
Right.
That image would be the master, and that would be the one you were speaking of starting over.
Right.
And then from there, I would make incremental backups based on what I was doing, install new software, whatever. I went out on the web. I didn't like what happened, so I go back. And I can drop back any number of generations, and that's what makes the use of this software so useful to me. And
well, if you're that diligent about it, then yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, no, I get it.
Most people aren't nearly that diligent.
I guess I'm too tedious.
Yeah, well, not tedious, but yeah.
Not tedious enough. But I appreciate all your help, and I enjoy listening to your answers. And Three Wise Men once again.
Well, thank you. But I would check out that it's in our link list, so you can do a search of our link list to find it. It lists a whole bunch of products for every operating system, and I would start my research there.
Yeah, I will. I was just, I'll let you go. It was the floppies and all like that I thought might be kind of cumbersome to cover.
Yep.
In the sense of capturing a nuanced software that would do that for me. So
Right.
I understand. All right, well, listen, guys, take care and have a splendid weekend.
You too.
All right, thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, a lot goes back to whether you want a fast backup or a fast restore. And for a home user, you probably want a fast backup. But a business user where your critical files are on there, you want a fast restore.
Right, that's exactly right.
So that's we image our main point of sale server so that if something goes wrong, we boot that image file, and then I'll worry about restoring it later tonight.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that completely. I mean, back in the day when it was a really important system, I would keep 2 versions of it running simultaneously.
Yep.
And then just point to whichever one, and they were mirroring each other. So, yeah. Before we go back to the phones apparently
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Apparently, Dave fell asleep on the board again and hit a button he shouldn't have.
We're traveling.
Here's your travel tip. Don't until the end of the show. Thank you. We love New York.
So there's 16 keyboards and 27 mice over there, and it's
yeah. And when he nods off, he sometimes hits a button he shouldn't. That happens. William says, "What's the app for Android?" I assume you're talking
the battery app.
About the battery app that's listed on our webpage. It's called Battery Charge. Something along that line.
Monitor.
Battery monitor.
It's still on the first page.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, you'll find that on that page. Our Chandra said Thunderbird is the only client I know about that does Auth 2 protocol, so I can log into Gmail. Yes, and William says Bluemail does it too, which is true, but it's not as easy. OAuth is never easy, but it's easy. It's easier in Thunderbird than in Bluemail.
We have run into that. Outlook for Mac does not support OAuth.
Yep.
Which is kind of interesting because OAuth has been around a long time. And many services are now requiring OAuth. And since we had another customer with Outlook for Windows the same way, so to log into AOL, you need to make an application-specific password.
Yep.
To log into Google, you need an application-specific password.
Yeah. OAuth is the way you authorize stuff to many things now.
Yeah.
And if you don't use OAuth, then you have to create essentially one-time password for each of those things.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the neck if you don't do OAuth. I can't
Right.
believe they don't do it.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
Coming in a future version. Well, partly because Outlook was always a MAPI client for Exchange, and so they added POP and IMAP as an afterthought, and then too many people started using it for regular POP mail, and it's frustrating. But the mail providers are trying to make mail more secure by having authenticated logins and having encrypted messaging. At least from you to them. Right. Mail between services isn't necessarily encrypted yet, but they're trying.
Right.
Email is so important these days.
Well, exactly. All right, back to the phones. It looks like Ken's back again from Rochester, New York. What's up, Ken?
Hey, how you doing today?
This is a different one.
Oh, a different Ken. Okay, excellent. What's up, Ken?
I got a Chromebook 360, and my charger is not working that great. My orange light comes on. Now, I don't take the plug out that much. I have it in. I'm wondering if I need a new plug.
It is certainly a possibility. If the Chromebook look, again, there's two places there could be a problem, inside the Chromebook or outside the Chromebook. And the least expensive way to test that is to replace the charger.
Okay.
So I would definitely do that.
And then the next step is that maybe the battery needs replacing, especially if it's an older computer.
Right.
And at that point, a lot of computers now have sealed batteries, and they're either tricky or expensive or both to replace them.
Right. And that comes right back down to what we were talking about earlier with the dendrites and not charging much above 80% and all that nonsense. But the first thing I would do, Ken, in this particular case, is replace the charger and see if that fixes the problem.
Yeah, because I get a thing on it saying the charger's going on it for a couple times. It says it a couple times a day, and then it never show up again. And then one time when I had no charger, the battery saying that it went out, but I got it back on. And then one more thing was 1 minute it'll be dim, and then next minute you got the bright light back on the machine.
Yeah, it well may be your charger. It could be the power in your house, but you would certainly notice your lights, your TV, your refrigerator, everything else doing the same thing. So right now, I'm suspecting the charger.
Okay, because I did what you're saying right now. I put different plugs in different areas.
Right.
One time it did work no problem, and then I did buy the living room one, and that didn't work. But I tried a lamp; that one did work.
Yeah, I would replace the charger.
Okay, how would you get something like that from a charger?
I would. Who makes your Chromebook? Is it an HP or an Asus?
HP.
I would go to the HP website and look for that Chromebook and look to buy a charger for specifically get the right charger for the right Chromebook.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of third-party chargers, and you never know if they're going to be exactly the right voltage or wattage or how good the electrics
you're going to
are.
pay a little more on HP's site, but believe me, it's a better buy.
How much is it about?
I don't know. I haven't really researched HP chargers. I'm sorry. Not terribly expensive. I should think. Yeah.
Okay. That's the only question I had.
All right. Thanks, Ken.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. I'm afraid I don't know the price off the top of my head, but in general, these chargers are tough because they're just a power cord into a power brick, which means there's at least 2 connections on them that can get flexed, and you've seen this many times, a cord phrase.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
And it's the AC to DC conversion. You've got you're getting 120 volts in, and you're getting out probably 10 volts.
12.
5
or 12.
Yeah.
Really.
And the better quality those electronics are, the more costly they are, but the safer it is. I remember I think it was Google did a teardown of a dozen different iPhone chargers. Because Apple's is $20 for the charge, and people thought that was expensive.
What?
Yeah, because you can get one on Amazon for $4.
Oh yeah, well yes.
So,
Okay.
So
yes.
he tore a dozen of them apart, and found out that the really cheap ones, there's no shielding between the high voltage and low voltage.
That's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, and it's the manufacturing wasn't very good. The wires weren't like straight.
Right.
And he opens up the Apple one, and it's beautiful on the inside.
Right.
And so, okay, yeah, it's $20. Maybe that's a little expensive, you think, for a phone charger, but it's not gonna kill you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why actually there was a problem with counterfeit chargers. Somebody did die, although they answered the phone in the bathroom while they were wet from the shower.
Yeah. That's
So Apple had a replacement program where if you had a third-party counterfeit Apple charger, you could get a free Apple charger.
That was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have purchased 1 or 2 third-party chargers. One of them worked quite well, and a couple of others just were junk.
Yeah. It's like you got to throw away the ones that are too cheap and the ones that are too expensive and get the ones in the middle of the road.
Yeah, right. You're always best going with a name brand, and super best going with the same brand as your computer, because partially it's they've got a name to keep clean, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to make good chargers. And secondly, they know what they're doing. And third, if you have a third-party charger and your Chromebook dies, they'll just point fingers at each other all day long. But if everything came from the same manufacturer, they have to take a certain amount of responsibility.
Yep.
If there's a problem that's obviously relatable to the...
And if your computer and charger are from 2 different companies, they can each blame the other one for the problem.
That's my point.
And then nobody fixes it?
Right, exactly. In the long run, nobody fixes it. So, again, let me just remind you that if you have a laptop, if you're buying a laptop, buy a warranty. If you're buying a laptop, buy a warranty. I suppose if you're buying a laptop to just sit on a desk and never move, it's less important. But if you ever pick it up off that desk and move it around, get in a warranty.
I had a customer yesterday looking to replace their laptop, and so, well, do you move it anywhere? Because Mac Mini's a great little computer to plug into your 2 monitors and big mouse and, and keyboard and mouse. No, we take it places now and then. All right, so we'll look at the laptops.
Well, exactly. That's
now
how
you have
it
3
works.
monitors.
Right, exactly. But yeah, that's a big consideration when you're doing that. All right. That music tells us we are done for another week. I want to thank everybody who called in. Good discussions this week. Why are we listening to 2 separate things? Okay, it doesn't matter. I want to thank Dave Enright. I want to thank Steve Ray. Your phone, Dave. Dave. Okay, we're going to have to teach Dave how to do not disturb. We don't care about Rob. But I want to we don't know where we are anymore. Listen, thanks a lot for watching the show. Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco. We'll be back in just 166 hours with a whole lot more sound bites right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Be good to one another, will you?
The following is a paid program. The views and opinions expressed do not